Now, welcome to Beyond The Playbook. And guess what? Femi is not here because I remember last week Femi was talking about, Kelvin is here, he's trying to take over the show. Now, who's taking over the show? The next thing was left now is for us to remove this picture of Femi, but well, let's not talk about Femi. He's going to be back next week. I've got two amazing guests right here. They have to talk about what everyone is talking about. Number one, the Super Eagles, the playoffs in Morocco. I'm going to start with Solace Chukwu. Solace, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
So, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here too. So, this is one thing about Solace, right? The name's been there for over a decade. I know Solace's wife, but I think this is the first time I'm meeting you.
Yes.
You don't go out.
I do not. I'm very much a hermit. I like my personal space. I like to just sit there and think about football and.
But what's it like? Do you kind of like just want to see your work there? I know you're one of the most, you write some of the most beautiful articles out there over the years, and everyone sees the name Solace Chukwu and they don't get to see you that much. It's great to be. Yes, I know some people have seen you, but having you here is also.
Yeah, I'm kind of person who's very content to let his word speak for itself. But every now and again, especially for something like this, which you reached out, and I took a look at the production, looked really good, looks really cool, and I'm like, okay,
thank you.
Avenue to do something different, get myself out there maybe a little bit.
Especially what we want to talk about today. And right here is Favor. I don't want to cast you, but I feel like casting you because he's a Chelsea fan, and
Champion of the world.
You guys talk about it. It's a Sunday football thing. You guys went out on a Sunday. So you played your semifinal on a Saturday. On Sunday, you won a trophy, and they gave you guys one badge, and you keep talking about it. How you doing, man?
Well, yeah, I'm good. I'm doing great, and we're looking forward to the Super Eagles and what they are going to do.
You're repping well. But let's start with the Super Eagles, right? We have a game against Gabon, the semi-final of the African playoff. Firstly, we don't want to talk about the fact that we couldn't go in first, like direct from our group. South Africa took that ticket, of course, we all know that. But now that we are here, we are still in good company because we have Cameroon playing DR Congo on the other side. But I know that on paper, right, we should be able to go past Gabon. But in reality, can we go past Gabon?
I don't really see any reason why we shouldn't be able to. Player for player, qualitatively, we have the advantage over Gabon. So I think they would also be looking at us with a great deal of trepidation. Obviously, we have Victor Osimhen, who is Victor Osimhen, right? He has that ref both home and abroad, but they can transfer that with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Yeah. So that star power sort of cancels itself out up front, but spread out over the rest of the team, we have far greater quality. So if anyone should be wondering about how do we counteract what the other person is doing, it should be them looking at us, wondering what are we going to do to get past these guys. I know there's Cameroon and they are 5-time African champions or whatever, but everyone in terms of the lineup of the playoffs, the team nobody would have wanted to face with Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to face a sleeping giant. Everyone knows that Nigeria is not in very good nick, but this is a country that always rises to the occasion when the chips are down. I mean, we saw that against Benin.
Yeah.
So nobody would be enthusiastic, particularly about facing Nigeria, whether in good form or bad. So I think Nigeria very much can, very much should. Whether, of course, that would actually happen is a whole other matter.
Because I think this time around is more interesting, right? It's not just going to be blind football where, the kind of goal we scored against South Africa, Calvin Bassey would not have stood if there was VAR. But this time around, there's a VAR, there's going to be VAR. So, Favor, with VAR, with the Super Eagles. And one thing I also want to mention, I know you said something about star power for star power. I know Osimhen and Aubameyang are cancelling each other out. Aura for aura, we have it that right there. But when it comes to having a team, a group of 11 players that will play for themselves, I think bar the last 2, 3, 4 games we've played with Osimhen being back, I think Gabon has been able to show that we have it, even if we don't have the star power, we have a team that can go out there and compete.
Well, for the Super Eagles, I'm always usually very careful to talk about the Super Eagles because you never know what to expect. It's just like my club also, Chelsea. Well, like the same.
Move away from Chelsea. Talk about the Super Eagles, my guy.
The huge difference is that Chelsea will win trophies, but Super Eagles. But yeah, we have to. You talked about the team. I don't think that the Super Eagles is a very good team. I think we rely a lot on Osimhen, a lot. And if Osimhen is not fit, we saw the World Cup qualifiers. When Osimhen was not fit, we're not winning. Once Osimhen was fit, we're winning. So it's kind of. But I can say the same thing for Gabon, because you saw when they qualified for the playoffs, it was Aubameyang
Scored 4 goals.
Yeah. So I think it's normal to rely on a player of that kind of quality.
It's never a problem.
Yeah. So we just have to pray that he's fit. And if he's fit and firing, I believe we'll beat Gabon easily.
Who would you rather face? Let's say we beat Gabon. Who would you rather face? A DR Congo that you cannot predict, or a Cameroon that is also going in for the World Cup?
Well, here's the thing. I know everybody's going to look at Cameroon and say, okay, yeah, there's a pedigree, right?
Yeah.
But one thing we need to consider about Cameroon is, even though they give us problems, the context in which they give us those problems is very particular. It is the Africa Cup of Nations final.
Yeah.
That's true.
Whenever we face them on any other stage, in any other setting, we typically have the advantage over them.
Yeah.
So I'm not really that bothered about, they have their own problems too. I'm not really that bothered about Cameroon. I am concerned about DR Congo because they are a sneakily really good side. They have a great coach, Sebastian De Tab. I have wanted him to coach Nigeria for a long time. Topic for another under this conversation. DR Congo are a really good side. They have a lot of really good players. They play for each other. They are very physical, very robust. They are precisely the sort of team that can turn up and completely neutralize what it is we do well on a particular day. So honestly, this might sound like hubris on my part, but I would much rather play Cameroon.
Everybody wants to play Cameroon. Everyone. I've spoken with a lot of people, and yes, and I know, because I think I was in Uyo the last time we played them to qualify for, I think, the World Cup. We beat them 4-0. That was one sweet victory out there. Everybody wants to play Cameroon, but what is it about DR Congo that makes them sneaky and a bit difficult to face?
Their team is crazy. I can't even lie. I've seen their team. Their team is actually. I didn't even know that they were that good. When you look at the names, Wan-Bissaka is there. Their striker, I think Wissa,
but Wissa is back. He was injured for a bit, but he's back. Yes,
he's back for that match. And when you look at that team,
and Wissa is a solid player,
very solid. So when you look at that team, you might think that DR Congo is this and that, but when you look at the team, they actually have some very good Premier League players. They have this Sunderland guy. I think he's 21 or so, very young guy. He's very good. They have an Andales player in their team. They have very, very good players in their team. So if we think that we just be there.
And I like this swagger at which the coach just released his team list before the start of November. He just released his team list and like, guys, have it. If you want to go and research our players, go ahead and research them.
That was ultimate power move.
It was a power move.
Again, it just tells you what it's a marker of what I said earlier, which is that they're a really settled team. They know what they are. They understand how they play. Their identity is settled. You know, this is not about Nigeria can't figure out, okay, yeah, we know we have Osimhen, but if Osimhen has an off day, what do we do? These guys, they are set in how they want to play. They understand each other and they are rugged too. There's nothing, you can't out physical them like we did to an extent with even South Africa.
Yes.
You know, you can't out physical them. They are tactically solid, so there aren't that many holes to exploit like that, like there was against Benin. So I'm not looking forward to that. I am hoping that Cameroon rise out of the ashes somehow, like they rediscover their aura of
the
elbow. Those are two really physical teams. Maybe they just really butt heads and somehow DRC lose their heads or lose their way or something, and then it's Cameroon, and then we can say, okay, this is Cameroon. We know each other very, very well, you know, and we know how to beat Cameroon when it is not the AFCON final. So let's get that.
Okay. Now let's look at some what ifs, because we didn't even know we were going to be here, right? We thought it was all over, right? Then we started doing the ifs and calculators, right? And finally we are here. Now what if what if we don't qualify? What if we don't make it to the Inter-Confederation Playoffs? What if we lose out here in Morocco? What will happen to, the footballer's pride, because a lot of our players are in their prime right now. If we don't make it now, that means Osimhen didn't go for 2022, 2026 is not going. Same thing for Ademola, Lookman. Okay, luckily for Trus Ekong, it was in 2018 in Russia, but Qatar know that. So this is a whole good generation of players that might not make it to, let's say, 2030, because hey, it's almost going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
This is always so. What if we don't make it? I don't want to consider it, but we just have to talk about it.
It's not they're thinking about, but we do have to think about it.
Right.
Like you said, it's a whole group of players that have been really good, and from the outside looking in, you would have been excited to see what they could do if they all come together.
Yeah.
You know, that synergy, what it would produce on the world stage. For them to not go to the World Cup at all would be a travesty. Like, how do you okay, for example, there's been this whole conversation about where does Victor Osimhen stand in the pantheon of Nigerian football.
Yeah.
You know, how good of a player he is. You really can't assess him.
If he's never been to the World Cup.
I mean, he could literally break Yekini's record next year.
Yeah.
But no matter how many goals he scores, they will always have that black mark against him. He never went to the World Cup. That means something that, you know, so the legacy for a lot of these players is going to be changed. And that's before we even come to the administrative side of things. We've seen the conversation on social media about the administration of Nigerian football, how money is being
Expenses managed.
whatever. I mean, there have been opinions back and forth as to the veracity of those allegations and claims and counterclaims or whatever. But you have to assume there will be some kind of grand reckoning for Nigerian football if we go to the World Cup, especially once we get the AFCON out of the way. If we don't make the particular players, I don't think we can really do anything in terms of breaking things off. The AFCON is next month. We go to the AFCON, we come back. So I think we will see, or we should see, some kind of really drastic root and branch reform in Nigerian football. What it looks like after that, what the Super Eagles looks like after that is anyone's guess. I really don't know, but I'm very curious. I just know we can't continue like this. There's no scenario in which we miss consecutive World Cups and everything remains the same. Something has
to change.
I'm personally hoping that we can be level-headed enough to understand what exactly it is needs to change and who exactly it is to hold responsible for the mess that we will be.
But who are you going to hold responsible for this mess?
Well, I want to be fair and say that, you know, there's a little pockets of blame for everyone.
Yeah.
But
the blame can go
I
around.
think the bulk of it will always come down to the administration. And that's, let's look at it on the most basic level, right? We have a team that did not go to the World Cup. Why didn't they go to the World Cup?
Yeah.
They played 10 qualifiers with 3 different managers, right? Or already that's not ideal. So
yeah,
you know, okay, something has gone wrong here. Okay, so why did they play 10 qualifiers with 3 different coaches? So you drill down into that in the first place. Who started the qualifying series? Was he the right person in the first place? You know, if he was not, under what circumstances was he allowed to stay, or did he leave?
Okay.
Placed him, or the circumstances around this, that person was brought in. Was the person allowed, was the person right choice in the first place? Was he given the right tools to work? You know, so you ask so many questions, but the buck still stops at the table of the Nigeria Football Federation. Do you guys, what was the thinking here? We need a situation where, I don't know if this is even remotely possible, but the ideal situation is for them to come forward and say, okay, this is what we were thinking when we made certain choices, when we made certain decisions.
Okay.
What we were going for. I'll give an example here. We have currently Eric Chell.
Yeah.
Two of the 3 managers who took us to qualifying had the best record. So he hasn't lost yet, right?
No, not yet.
That's been fantastic for him.
I hope it doesn't.
But then you look at it, and I'm not even faulting his appointment, because I think ultimately, like I said, he has the best record, he's not lost. But still, there have been hiccups and bumps in the road with him, most notably drawing at home against Zimbabwe, right?
Yeah.
So now we look at his appointment and we say, okay, one of the things we were told was that the sports ministry, the NFF, whatever, you know, however the decision making went between the two of them, they were looking for a coach who was experienced within the context of African football, who understands the landscape, coaches in Africa. Okay, that's fine. You bring Eric Chell, has managed Mali, but if you are looking for experience of African football, Mali was pretty much Eric Chell's first serious job.
That's true.
So even within their own decision making, even
it's flawed.
It's flawed. You know, so these are the little things. Before him, you had Finidi George. fantastic player, like one of the legends of Nigerian football.
That's true. Yeah.
But what did he have to recommend him coming into the job? He won a league title with Enyimba.
With Enyimba.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's fair.
But my personal view, and perhaps this is a whole other discussion. My personal view has always been that if you're going to appoint a coach from the NPFL for the national team, it has to be a coach who has shown an exceptional level of achievement beyond the
Going in the league.
So we look at Morocco, right? They brought in their coach, right? It wasn't just that he was a former player. It wasn't just that he managed, I think it was Wydad, yeah. But he won the CAF Champions League. That is the highest level of achievement for a coach.
An indigenous coach.
Yes. So you can then say, okay, that makes sense. We see the logic there. But you can't bring in Fini George off winning one league title with Enyimba. One.
I think it was even a playoff season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super 4, right?
Yeah, Super 4.
And I don't want to taint,
Because that season, I know Bendel Insurance they were unbeaten throughout the entire league. So it's as good as just bringing the Bendel Insurance manager.
So, these are the things you look at. Okay, why was he appointed? We go even further back. Jose Peseiro. Yes, he won silver at the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
But look at the particulars of how he got there. That team we had at the AFCON was very well drilled, but it was ultra defensive.
Yeah, very defensive.
That for me actually was the beginning of our over-reliance on Victor Osimhen, because that team was entirely defensive. It was really about Victor Osimhen's running up front and the ability of Ademola Lookman to take advantage of the space.
Yeah.
Behind. That was really what it was about. It was a very productive team. Before then, what was he doing? We played Lesotho at home. We played Zimbabwe. We could not win
either of those games there.
So, there's so many. You just have to look at the federation at the end of the day. And my worry is that people look at that and go the opposite direction, and they say, okay, we've had 2 different coaches and the team was still not getting results. So the problem is the players. You see, that's what a lot of people are
but for the players as well, Solace, I think the blame can go around.
Sure. Football is about players performing on the pitch, right? So you can say the players, they share some blame. I'm sure if we pull up individual matches, we can pick different instances of players making bad decisions who could have done something differently or something, but at the end of the day, we look at these guys within the context of where they play football week in, week out. These guys are consistently good to excellent.
Yeah, delivering.
If they are not doing that for us consistently, there's something about our context that is wrong. I think in terms of how we discuss football, and I don't want to say it's unique to Nigeria, but we often have this situation where we pay coaches really, really good money to coach the national team. Yeah. And we need to know that coaches are responsible for not just the tactical organization,
the culture,
yes, and the context within the players perform, putting them in the right frame of mind to perform. If you bring players and you say the players are not responding to the coach, that's not the coach, that's not the player's fault. That's
the coach's fault.
The coach's responsibility is to convince the player to do what he wants them to do.
That's true.
So at the end of the day, it still comes down to, if the players are doing well elsewhere but not doing well at home consistently, then the problem, it doesn't make sense to say the problem is the players. Let's not forget, these guys come to play for us in very, very difficult circumstances.
That's true, yeah.
Very difficult circumstances. It's not like they are, yes, they get to fly, whatever, but I mean...
They fly business, some of them.
But at the end of the day, these guys are, they are old bonuses. They don't often get refunds on tickets, when...
yeah.
No, they brave a lot to play for us. We cannot then say they are not committed.
That's true. I like your arguments, right? Because at some point I was blaming the players, because I just feel that, okay, if Victor Osimhen is not here to play, then you should be able to do the job. I know we had Ademola Lookman, African Footballer of the Year, was around for most of the qualifiers. Bassi was around, Alex Iwobi was around, but Trostekong was around, and at a point we had to change some of the strikers. We had Boniface, and that was where Boniface lost it with the fans. We had Boniface, we had Awoniyi, we had Onuachu, we had some of these guys coming to deputize for Osimhen, but they just couldn't get the goals in. So that was why I just felt that, okay, the players probably have a bit of a fault, but let me just throw it to you, like because there's another hot one to talk about, right? Before we leave the Super Eagles, who are you going to blame? Are you blaming any? Maybe don't blame the pitch though. Don't blame the South African pitch. I can blame the South African pitch too, though. But yeah, continue. That was one game, but I don't think there's a way we would have defeated South Africa, though. Those guys, they have it for us. They have it hot for us. They just want to beat us. But continue, Favor.
Like you said, for me, it's the federation also, to be honest. And I've always been saying this, that we don't have the structure in Nigeria. I've always been saying it. I think our national team is not even, we like to coordinated enough. I don't know how to put it, but our national team, when you compare it to the likes of Senegal, for instance, when you compare it to the likes of or let's say we use South Africa.
That's far, bro.
That was came to play Remo Stars. And I was seeing national team players play for Mamela, and it's a club in South Africa. But you can never see that in Nigeria. That alone is a problem.
That's discussion for another day, though. That's so I think maybe you come back another time to talk about that. Let's talk about that. But I think you were with Enyimba at a point, right? Yes. That was over a decade ago. Is it no? almost. That's discussion for another day, because I know some of those South African players, some of the players who play. Hakim Ziyech is back.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Do you know this man played for Chelsea, played in Ajax, Saudi Arabia, played some big clubs and is back. Do you know how much you're going to pay him? You probably have to pay as much as maybe $10,000-$15,000 a month for him or more. Or not up to that, right? But see, no player in Nigeria, no player in the Nigerian league currently earns $1,000 a month. I don't think so, because with the conversion rates right now, that's about, I don't know what it's like in the market today, but let's just say 1.5 million naira a month. So no player. And the moment they get maybe 2,000, 2,500 outside of the country, they are leaving. But we're still going to talk about Rivers United, right? But the other one, it's been trending a lot on social media. Everybody talking about, somebody's doing bad belly for Nwabali because he did this, because he did that. But hey, we need to talk about the fact that I think we're back to having goalkeeping crisis. I don't think so, but I think I don't want to overflog this horse, but we almost didn't get here because of a goalkeeper. And everyone is talking about, he considered 3 goals some games ago, kept a clean sheet. But the good thing is that there's competition because Okoye is back. Yeah. Okoye is back after a suspension. Should we still go with Nwabali? Nwabali is good, no doubt. Yeah. But that's PH people want to come for me. But that's that Port Harcourt boy kind of is evident in his character.
I mean, okay, here's the question, right? Why did Nwabali become number 1 in the first place? It was precisely because of that personality and that character. That was really, because if you look at it on...
Was it? I think it came in and it was good.
No, that's the point.
And the confidence too.
Yes, there's a if you weigh Nwabali and Okoye, purely in terms of technical ability, you can basically say they're on par. Mm-hmm. You want to be really charitable, you put them on par. What sets...
Don't be charitable.
What put Nwabali, not just for the coaches but in the eyes of Nigerians over, was his confidence. We've always been that way with our goalkeepers. We want goalkeepers that project aura.
Yeah.
We still talk about, okay, look at Enyama, for example. Enyama was our number 1 for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. But there were doubts over him for most of that time, even though he was putting in world-class performances in major tournaments. I mean, this guy had a running battle with Lionel Messi. Yeah. In terms of keeping the Argentine out. So people just didn't have ultimate faith in him just because of his stature. So we had a Nwabali who came in, looks larger than life.
Acts that way as well.
Around. Yeah. And it's like, we said, okay, yeah, this is what we've always wanted. This is what we need. Okoye is also, big, but he keeps small.
Yes.
He doesn't project that, he's not an extrovert. He doesn't project that willingness to shake people.
Yeah, shake his defense, get people in line.
So that's what got Nwabali in the first place. I don't think that has changed yet. even though now we've gotten to another spectrum where people are no longer comfortable with the fact that he's that way. Because it's easy to take that when the person is playing well, but when the form dips a little bit, you start saying, oh, they do too much.
Yeah.
You don't need too much.
But is it
But he can't change his personality. So we have two options here. We can say, okay, this guy, we know this is how good he can be. Let's support him through it. Because let's not forget, this guy lost both parents not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
In quick
succession.
He has not really had
time to process the grief properly. Yeah.
So we have to look at it from the point of view that this guy is a human being at the end of the day. If he's a little bit erratic off the back of that, is it really that difficult to understand? So, and goalkeeping is something that is a little bit, it's tricky, right? If you take Nwabali out of the team, I say, okay, you're adding new number one now. You have to factor in let's even say Okoye comes in and starts doing well. You have to consider what kind of a substitute is Nwabali. There are different kinds of substitutes.
Yeah.
There are those who sit on the bench and are happy to encourage others that are doing well. There are those who sit on the bench and sulk. There are those who sit on the bench and sow dissent
amongst yes.
So you have to. Nwabali does not strike me as the kind of goalkeeper who you can bench and he's cool.
Yeah.
In the scale, let the other know.
Okay,
that's not. I don't think that's the kind of person he is.
I don't think so too.
Where I am with him personally has always been that he should remain number one until his position becomes untenable. Now, I'm not of the school of people who say, oh, Nwabali was great. It's just recently he started misbehaving. When I say misbehaving, I mean form.
That's yes.
It has been there for a long time. During the AFCON, I remember I flagged. I wasn't very confident in terms of the decision making on set pieces and crosses, and that was before the final, where obviously what happened. But everybody forgot about that because ultimately he had a good tournament. So I'm not of that school that says, "Oh, everything was fine. Suddenly now everything's spoiled." That's not me. Things have always been
the way they have been. Yes.
But even though there have been errors, they have not been glaring up until this point. Right, they've not been glaring. So what I would say is keep him there, but the coaches have a talk with him. If you have a psychologist within the team, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I think we have a psychologist. Probably need to get more psychologists in the team.
Okay, how are you feeling? Are you in the right mental space? Especially even bring some of the captains of the team into the conversation, because his communication has been, we saw him quarreling
with Ndidi Ajayi at another time.
Come in, some of the most senior players in the team. Okay, we understand you are a very expressive, very extroverted person who likes to organize your defense, but can you communicate better? Can you work on how you pass this message across? We are not comfortable because ultimately he's the goalkeeper for the team. He's not a goalkeeper, is not an individual, it's part of the team.
Yeah.
So if you are not carrying the rest of the team along, you are already not doing something right. So your communication is not good, even though we appreciate everything else. We appreciate it. Keep the personality, but please communicate a little bit better, a little bit clearer, a little bit more subtle. Respect a little bit the hierarchy of the team, and let's carry on that way. That's what I would say.
But just like he said as well, at the Nations Cup, it was that way with some of the players, some of the opposition players, pushing them around, dragging them, saying some things that we can't really say here, like I'm going to you off, you understand? But it's been that way, and we loved him that time. But why now? I think that's the way life is, though.
That's the way life.
We love you when you're up, but when you're down, we want to step on you. Are you of the same school of thought? Should Okoye?
Never. That's not even.
Well, why never? But
for me, that should not even be a consideration, because let's not even forget that Okoye is just coming back from the ban. Right.
No, but ban didn't mean 2 months without.
And goalkeepers can get roasted. Right. So for me, he has done well since coming back. Let's not lie about that. He kept the clean sheet against Atlanta, which is nice. He has done well, but for me, Nwabali has been consistently keeping. That alone should actually give him the edge over Okoye. I don't think someone should just come from it to one band. He has not even. When last did he keep up the Super Eagles? It's been a while.
And one thing to consider again is the circumstance in which you put somebody in. I've always been particular about the fact that it's more than just starting somebody.
Yeah.
Give the person the right environment with him to succeed. If you take out Nwabali now, while the conversation around him is still polarized, there people are kicking in. There are still people who are like, Nobody
with him, yeah.
So if you take him out and you bring Okoye, you are putting Okoye immediately under pressure.
That's true. And Okoye is already under pressure because people can't.
Then with two goalkeepers whose morale is strong.
People can't forget what Okoye did at the World Cup before, the AFCON before now against Tunisia when Eguavoen was. Well, for the Super Eagles, right? Let's quickly jump. They're already signaling that we're almost done, right? But let's talk about Rivers United, right? Rivers United. Is this the end of the road for them? The group. That was too fast. No, that was too fast because I was watching and when I saw Pyramid defending champions, right? RS Berkane, another from Morocco, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Confederation of Champions. Then they just push in Power Dynamos just to maybe the whipping boys. So it's now looking like with Rivers United, should we be talking about them making it out or not being the whipping boys of the group?
I think we should just be happy that we got here.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It helps our coefficient though.
Yes, it's since Lobby Stars
in 2018, 2019.
back when it's been a while since a Nigerian team was actually at this stage. So let's just thank God for life. But as for whether Rivers United are making it beyond the foil, I think even they would be realistic and say no. I understand that you can only beat what's in front of you, which is fair enough. So I'm not going to say too much about the fact that their draw to this point was charitable. Everybody, you can't influence your draw.
Yeah.
Who's in front of you, right? So they did well to get here. But, these are teams that have a lot of investment behind them. You have tenure in African football.
Yeah.
You have won things. Rivers United are going to get steamroller. That's
Oh my.
Absolutely steamroller. If I would love for Fini the girl to prove me wrong, right? He's still trying to rebuild his reputation.
Yeah, after the Super Eagles thing.
So if he can do that, he'll get a lot of plaudits. But we're asking him to do the impossible. Power Dynamos can be, they can donate 4 points.
4 points, home win. Hopefully. But I think we are being a bit pessimistic with this Rivers United thingy because hey, they've got 3 home games. What if they won 2 of their home games?
They're playing in New York.
It's still home. It's still in Nigeria now. It's still Nigeria.
We are seeing a situation in African football where the top is pulling away from everyone else.
Yeah.
So these guys at the top, they are getting to a point where they are very comfortable home or away. Look at what Sunderland did to Remo.
Let's not talk about Remo.
It was pathetic. We can no longer bank on. You can do that against a certain level of opposition. Once you start getting to those really big teams, they know how to handle themselves away. There's nothing you're going to throw their way that they've never seen before.
That's true.
So
that's true. You look at the way they've been playing. You look at how they've been qualifying. They win home and away this time around. They mostly win. The big boys win home and away. Clubs like the Nigerian clubs probably draw away, come home, then win, and that was what Rivers did, right? Same thing with Remo had double home games.
In that situation where we say if we lose 1-0 away, it's a good result. But these big teams don't do that.
They don't do that anymore. We are far. We're still far behind.
If you present as incompetent, if you present as permeable, they will whoop you on any given Sunday on anything.
That's not encouraging. Rivers United, I think you've been able to do something, get us to this place, right? Maybe you can make it out. If you can try.
The prize money they will get for getting to this team,
I think about 700,000.
Try
and invest.
They will not. But ideally, the idea will be for them to take that and reinvest and go again. That's how clubs grow.
Yeah.
You take what you can, you reinvest, you go again till you build up that experience. You keep your team together for a long enough period. They gain experience, they gain expertise. That's the way it should be, but that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. Anyways, thanks for coming. It's been amazing having you guys on the show. Your insights has been really, really great, right? I had to change some of the things that I was thinking before because when you talked about how blaming the federation, I blamed the federation about maybe before 60%, but now it's almost like 95% blaming. Thanks for the convincing, right? So Favor, amazing having you here. And for the man who could not be here today, Femi, you understand? Now, when I come in, we have something to talk about. We share this show. All right, thanks a lot, Solace, for coming. Really amazing. Let me just put it out here. I'm still going to invite you later, and I hope you'll be around. But this man is going to be around anytime I call him. But for you, having you around, having to bring you out, I'll tell everybody Solace was on the show before it comes out. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
This was fun.
Yeah, very, very fun. Let's make it fun again next time. Peace.